I used to have a best friend years ago, and she lied to me about having breast cancer. And so when I see this whole thing with Miss Analyzer going on, um, I can relate. It's kind of like deja vu. And what's really weird about it is my friend looked like her, talked like her, mannerisms, same body style, and everything. Maybe it is her. I don't know. But I mean, at this point in my life, if you've seen one of my other videos, I used to talk about when I was suicidal over a relationship. Well, it wasn't this relationship because I'm gay, but that was going on around the same time that she lied to me. And at that point in my life, I mean, it knocked me on my Ariana Grande. It was terrible. I met this girl at work. She used to come into my work all the time with her mom, and we became really close and really, really good friends. Well, this is a key point to the story. She told me that her mom had Alzheimer's, and her mom seemed perfectly normal to me. And I think the reason she told me this is because anything that she said to me at that point on, that if her mom didn't agree with it, she could just blame it on Alzheimer's. Well, anyways, she told me she had just got a divorce, she had just got over thyroid surgery, and she did have a scar on her neck. So, I mean, that could have been true, but I doubt it. And you'll see why. So here her mom is with memory problems and stuff, and we get really close, so she always comes and stays at my apartment with me because we had game nights, girls' nights as we called them, and just had a really, really good time. She cooked for me all the time, made me really good food, and at the time I was going through a really bad relationship with somebody, and I was depressed, and on Valentine's Day, I go to a bar with her, and I was really depressed over the relationship I was in, and it was right after I just got out of the 72-hour lockdown for attempting to kill myself. I wake up in an ambulance. They bring me to a hospital, come to find out I had date rape in my system. Now, we were only at the bar maybe 15, 20 minutes. So people like my mom and stuff tend to think that she was drugging me. Who knows? She might have been touching me in my sleep. I don't know. I hope she had a good time if she did. So anyways, there's that, which was kind of weird at the time. It kind of gave me a red flag in my head. But, you know, we stayed friends, and the whole time she's lying to me, and she's saying now she has breast cancer. And I didn't know she was lying at the time, but I felt so bad for her, and I couldn't bring it up around her mom because her mom had Alzheimer's, supposedly. So I'm starting to catch on to some things, you know, because she started getting into my personal relationship, saying that my boyfriend was texting her, saying he wanted to work things out with me. But that was all a lie, too. It was like leading me on and diving me deeper into my depression at the time. Now, I was already depressed enough, and she's sitting there lying to me about breast cancer and all this other stuff. And then, like, I'm starting to point out clues at the time, you know, because things weren't adding up. Well, then she tells me that her sister just killed herself. She had never mentioned a sister before. And, you know, she's telling me that there's this money she's getting from England, which her mom had an English accent and she didn't. And, you know, she wants to get us a house so we could be best friends and live together forever and buy me a truck and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't want you to buy me anything. Like, I don't need all that stuff. Like, we're friends, we're good. All of these stories, okay? These just crazy stories. So I'm getting a suspicion, and I decide to pick up the phone and call her mom and say sorry to hear about the sister committing suicide. All of a sudden, my friend gets all freaked out. No, don't call her, don't call her. She doesn't need to be called right now. That was the clue that I needed. So I wait until she leaves the room. I pick up her phone. I run to the bathroom and I call her mom. Her mom answers, and her mom was supposedly in Texas to prepare for her sister's funeral. The mom answers, and I say, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. And she said, my loss about what? And I'm like, didn't your daughter just pass away? She's like, no, she's with you. There wasn't even another daughter. She made up the sister. She made up the sister killing herself. She made up the money. She made up the breast cancer. Come to find out, she comes clean about everything. It was all a lie. It was all a lie for what? For nothing. For just to be my friend? Like, we were already friends. We had things in common. I drove her home that day, and I never talked to her for years and years and years until I think I found her on Facebook a while ago. But that's as close as I'm going to keep her. So, what I'm saying about this is like I can relate and I see why she wanted to connect and get close because she was extremely lonely. And I think maybe that's what Miss Analyzer is doing. But I mean, it puts a dent on people and it makes people see you differently. And when you have to make up a fictitious life around yourself, you have to remember that that fake life that you're living, once it's a reality that people realize that it's not a truth, it collapses like a house of cards and just goes away. It's fake. So if you're basing your life on a foundation of ridiculousness, it's not going to last, especially if you want people to care about you and be in your life. And, you know, I mean, I've realized that back then with friends. I'm realizing it today who my real friends are. But I mean, that's just a story. When I heard about Miss Analyzer, I completely related to it because it happened before, and it's a really shitty thing to lie about cancer. But I hope her the best, and you know, I hope everything works out for her. But it seems like she's in a really sticky situation right now. And on an end note, I never wished anything bad on my friend that lied to me, but I do know now. Well, supposedly she's living in a wheelchair, but that's what she told me on Facebook. I don't know. Start telling the truth.